I grew up in a hoarder house. Mountains of garbage, hundreds of cats, mushrooms growing out of the carpet, the whole deal. Ask me anything. I came from abject poverty, horrifying living conditions, public humiliation, extreme psychological/emotional/verbal/physical abuse. Ended up graduating from Stanford. Nothing off limits. Ask away.
Before we start, be sure to like and subscribe to be the first to know about new videos. Comment your answer below.
When did you realize other homes did not look like yours? I grew up in a small, affluent town that was almost 100% Italian, East Hanover, New Jersey. Most families had a stay-at-home mom who kept the house spotless. Many couches covered in plastic, that kind of thing. So I became aware from a very young age. There was also a lot of psychological conditioning from my mother letting us know we were different and had to work to keep others from knowing about it. Otherwise they, usually the dreaded DIFs or public health, would come and take us away from mommy. So yeah, it was pretty young. My parents were both hoarders. My mom couldn't throw away paper. Whether it was junk mail, old bills, coupons, newspapers, magazines, etc., she subscribed to everything and our mailbox was full every day. Every surface of the house was loaded down. Oddest part is she rarely read anything. My first glimpse that something was wrong was going to my grandparents' house and realizing just how clean everything was. I thought everyone lived in constant clutter. I thought it was normal to have piles of junk everywhere. Oddest part is she rarely read anything. That's a very common behavior for hoarders. They pile things up that they tell themselves that they will eventually use someday, but then they die of old age or health problems. Also grew up in a hoarded house, clutter, not trash. My mom always said of other people's clean homes no one really lives like that. They were just better at hiding the mess than we were. Not true, Mom, Carol really does clean more and lives like that all the time. Do you have any health conditions from growing up in such a dirty environment? Yes, but can't complain too much because my sister got toxoplasmosis which led to her losing eyesight in one eye. I got scarlet fever at a young age which caused a lot of complications because it went untreated and became rheumatic fever. My temperature got so high it denatured the proteins in my enamel, so my teeth have been yellow all my life. But it also caused some lifelong heart and lung issues as well. Have you considered getting veneers? They look completely natural and your teeth would look white. They are very safe. Yeah, on occasion I consider being rich. But then I go back on Reddit. As an adult or when you were younger, have you ever had a conversation with your mother about her hoarding? Does she recognize she has a problem? What do your siblings think? My siblings all recognize it. But the thing is, my siblings are 7, 9, 11, and 13 years older than me. Because my mother was younger with her other kids, she had more energy that she put into abusing them. They had it worse than me, so they're simply not as close to my mother as I am. They are kind of emotionally detached from her a bit. Even mentioning the word hoarding around my mother will cause her to scream like someone in a horror movie going through an exorcism. The way she acts almost makes it seem like she knows deep down she has a problem, but never would she ever admit to having a fault. She is a textbook narcissist, incapable of showing weakness or admitting to any fault. My siblings and I joke that, in our entire lives, we don't think we've ever seen or heard my mother apologize for anything ever. Every mistake she's ever made in her entire life has been someone else's fault. Every one. She'll oversleep for work and it's my fault because she had bad dreams the night before because of a movie I watched 4 years ago. She likes watching the show Hoarders to make fun of the disgusting people on it. Often after visiting someone's house, she'll talk about how their house isn't that nice or clean. It's so delusional I wonder if other people actually understand what the word surreal means like I do. I dated a guy like that. He was completely oblivious to the fact that he had a serious problem but would always point out afterwards if someone's house was slightly messy. He actually asked me to move in and I did briefly. He would always complain about how I needed to organize my stuff and put it away because it was taking up too much space. Like, 1, I didn't have any stuff because I kept my apartment and left everything there. 2, even if I had stuff, there would be nowhere to put it away because there literally wasn't even anywhere to put myself. He died of a heart attack last year but I still have dreams where he is a ghost sitting on top of piles of trash and making sure we don't throw stuff away. Because one day he might need 5 gazillion plastic forks. Is he haunting me because I was right when we broke up and I told him that he was going to die alone, surrounded by trash, having never loved anything but his mother? I'd haunt you. Are you a hoarder as well? No. When I was younger I had similar tendencies. I'd feel irrational emotional attachment to some things and take longer to throw them away. I kinda had my mom's tendency to think of things as having feelings, like, I've had that sweatshirt for so long, he'll be so sad if I throw him away. I can't do that to him, he's been so good to me. I don't often have those feelings anymore, but they help me understand her a bit more. More frequently I almost revel in throwing away everything, even stuff I end up needing later. My grandparents were hoarders, and my parents are what I call pack rats, but not full-on hoarders. I noticed in my 20s that I had the same tendencies you speak of, irrational emotional attachments to things. A few years ago I read The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo, and she had some great techniques for getting past that. I'm so sorry that you had to live like that, but so glad you've moved on. Thanks. Sounds like an interesting book, but if anything, my roommates and girlfriends, when I ever have them, would complain that I may be a bit too tidy/organized. You're doing better than me. I'm a digital hoarder. I have irrational emotional attachments to tabs. Edit. So, I logged in for my morning K, let's see what the wonderful world of Reddit's up to today, and got a ton of BS replies to this. I'd like to remind everyone that 1. I straight up acknowledged in what I said that it's irrational. 2. If you've never dealt with a hoarder before, don't reply because honestly it's not helpful. And 3. Those who are replying with "just stop being depressed, it's so freeing" type shit, go away. It's seriously not helpful to anyone. I'm not going to just close up all the tabs. Today isn't the day I'm going go seek help either. Thanks, I appreciate your well-meaning, but no. My mother also doesn't let go of shit. I try deleting her cookies and she gets upset. I once found like a virus with a picture of a sparkly wavy Jesus and she freaked that I was trying to delete Jesus. Edit. For accuracy, the Jesus wasn't wavy, he was waving. Like his hand would go up and down. I think it was like GIF. Going from that to graduating from Stanford sounds like a long hard road to walk through. How did you do it? Moved out at 17. Got a job at Best Buy, became manager, built confidence. Lost job, got sick, played Xbox for a year. Lost confidence. Went semi-pro in Halo 2, traveled around the country competing. Gained confidence. Got a job at an Alpha Graphics, became manager, more confidence. Took everything I learned to community college. Double major in varied subjects, 4.0 GPA, president of student government, president of International Honors Society. Traveled around the country giving motivational speeches to college students. 2,400 on the SAT, and a personal essay about a hoarding mother that practically wrote itself. Did you ever roll against the pros in Halo 2? My friend once got us into a small LAN with a no-shit pro squad that were runners-up for one of the tourneys. I remember them being stupid good. I was the pros in Halo 2. Not to brag, but yeah, I was up there. One of my teammates late in my career actually went on to become one of the greatest. My last team was actually the beginning of Ambush, with Killin, Gun SH0T, and Iga Turpisto 1A. And from what I understand, Justin, Pisto 1A, went on to win it all. Dude, I legit can't stop reading these answers. You should write a book about this. Thanks for being open about your experiences. Have you visited with a psychiatrist or therapist about your life? Do you know if experiences have affected your own personal relationships with friends and significant others? Yes, I've seen a psychiatrist. Everything is connected, so I'm sure it's impacted a lot of things in ways I can't even imagine. Hey, thanks for doing this AMA. I think as a society we tend to reject hoarders as filthy and lazy instead of seeing them as people struggling with deeper issues. What is a memory of your childhood that is still impactful for you, good or bad? I wouldn't say my mother struggles with it, lol. Her biggest struggle is that her kids are constantly bitching about it. She doesn't see herself as a hoarder, so she does very little to address it. Honestly, I'm fully emotionally and rationally aware that my childhood was bad, so I truly have a hard time getting emotional about any of it. This makes it hard to talk about things I went through, because I can be telling people stories about physical abuse, murders, suicides, etc. and be laughing all the way through because that's just how I deal with it. Some of the more social stuff like at school is often where I'll get more upset. I'll throw out a few highlights of things that kinda stung even though I was so callous to everything. Being invited to pool parties but not being allowed in the pool because the other kids were afraid they would catch pour or make fun of me for being too dirty. My pool isn't your yearly bath. That kinda stuff. Making the newspaper because my mom had 100 cats, or for wild animals in the area because of our trash. Going to school and finding the newspaper on my desk so all the students could laugh at me. The more difficult stuff came in later when I was trying to figure out who I was and who I wanted to be, and realizing that I had no real family to lean on and either teachers aren't prepared to hear what you're going through, or you have to be about everything you talk about with them or they'd have to call the authorities. Dude, a teacher and 2 kids were the ones who told me my dad was in the newspaper for being a drunk, and then showed me the arrest report. No one in my family had any idea he even drank. Even my mom. It was world-shattering. I'm so sorry to hear someone else experience something similar. Fist bump, brother/sister. Thanks man. The entire town knew I guess, but public humiliation is never an appropriate activity for kids.
You have been visited by Sad Cat. Like this video and subscribe to the channel to make Sad Cat happy again.